Now, also tonight, we are less than 6 months away, 182 days to be exact, till the 2024 election. Donald Trump, by the way, is once again stuck in a Manhattan courtroom where a Biden donor, posing as an impartial judge with the statute of limitations that have long expired, whose family is compromised, as we've pointed out repeatedly on this program, is now threatening to unilaterally lock up former President Trump tonight. Alina Habba, House Judiciary Committee Chairman, Jim Jordan will weigh in. And also Jim Jordan will weigh in on the issue of, maybe evidence was tampered with, and that being in the Florida case. But while a far-left judge has now forced Donald Trump off the campaign trail, his opponent, Joe Biden, has been sidelined by his own mental and physical limitations. The Biden campaign announcing that Joe's speeches will now be shorter moving forward. You see, they want Americans to see as little of Joe Biden as possible, and frankly, for good reasons. He is weak, he is frail, he is not cognitively strong enough to handle what are the rigors of a campaign, let alone be president. In fact, a horde of White House staffers now are surrounding Joe Biden whenever he walks either to Marine One or away from Marine One. Of course, they want to hide his doddering shuffle. Now the big boy stairs are out of question on Air Force One. Joe always takes the short steps up to Air Force One after a series of embarrassing falls. Biden is also relying on what the White House is calling maximum stability sneakers to help keep him upright. Everyone around him knows that he is a physical and mental mess, and all of them are trying to cover it up. Joe Biden is not well. He has no business being president, much less running for re-election. I don't think he can handle being a Walmart greeter because I don't think he can remember where the varying departments would be. So despite working to limit Joe Biden's public exposure, well, there's only so much staffers can do to keep Joe from making a complete fool of himself. Take a look.
It's an honor to have so many friends and fans with us here today. They include Secretary of Defense Austin, a proud West Point grad himself. You can clap. We're also joined by Army's football's biggest fans, Bill and Steve of the radio show Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. And we finally have Coach Jeff Monken, who once again led the Black Knights back to the White House again. Where are you, Coach? Now, many of these cadets are going to have to hear me twice, so I'm going to make this shorter than usual, because I'm getting I have the honor of speaking again at West Point's commencement.
Oh, it's no surprise that Biden is now down in almost every major poll. Look at the Rasmussen poll. It has Joe Biden now losing by double digits. He's down by 10. But it's not just Joe Biden's physical and mental decline weighing him down. According to a brand new ABC poll, voters trust Donald Trump by an 8-point margin when it comes to law and order and crime and safety. Trump is up 17 points on immigration, 7 points on America's standing in the world, 14 points on inflation and the economy. And Democratic strategist James Carville, remember he once famously said, "It's the economy, stupid." Well, that's what decides elections. Another poll from Gallup now shows that Americans' confidence in Biden's economic stewardship is now historically low. Americans are now living under one of the most painful inflationary periods in history, and each day keeps getting worse. Every year it keeps getting worse. Prices keep getting higher. And one key reason for our economic decline, the Biden White House is filled with, well, frankly, unqualified idiots. For example, Jared Bernstein is the chairman of Joe Biden's Council on Economic Advisors. He's a proud graduate of the Manhattan School of Music. He has a bachelor's degree in fine arts, not economics. He also earned a master's degree in social work, another master's degree in philosophy, and a PhD in social welfare. Needless to say that Joe Biden's chief economic advisor doesn't know pretty much a damn thing about economics. Take a look.
The government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? There is no question that the government prints money, and then it uses that money to Yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
Nothing confusing there? Nothing made sense there. No wonder the economy is a complete mess. If it wasn't so awful for 60% of Americans living paycheck and paycheck, it would be funny, but there's nothing funny about how people have to live. The chairman of Biden's Council on Economic Advisors, well, doesn't understand inflation at all. The government prints money. That's all you know? But let not your heart be troubled. Your vice president is also on the case. The Biden campaign is now sending out Vice President Harris to brag about the virtues of Bidenomics when we were told last week they were going to get off the topic of Bidenomics. But according to this administration, your life has never been better. They keep telling you that, no matter how you truly feel, no matter how difficult these times are. Of course, many Americans are ready for this national nightmare to be over. That is why there is virtually no enthusiasm for Joe Biden on the campaign trail. Of course, it is a very different story for Donald Trump. Take a look. Massive crowds, massive enthusiasm, pretty much everywhere he goes. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.